I'll tell you what, it's a thing of beauty when The View finally gets held accountable for all their libel, defamation, and all the nonsense that they spew on that show. You guys are not going to want to miss what's going on between John Fetterman and The View.
John Fetterman became the first Democratic senator to head down to Mar-a-Lago. Here's what he said Thursday ahead of his trip.
What do you plan on talking about with your president?
Well, yeah, I'm asking to be named the Pope of Greenland.
Do you have a specific
No, I'm just having I mean, like, this is going to be the president. And I am not just the senator for Democrats in Pennsylvania. I'm the senator for everyone in Pennsylvania. And my state picked Donald Trump as president. And if I have the opportunity to have that conversation, and I bet we're going to find things to work together for a better Pennsylvania and a better nation, and that's why I'm engaging in this.
He's taking a lot of heat, apparently, for taking the trip, but do you think his reasons are sound?
It's the most common sense answer I've ever heard. Like, he's a senator to an entire state, and his state happened to turn for Donald Trump. So more than half of that state voted for the person that's becoming president. You're a senator heading into 13 hearings of confirmation he's making. Yeah. Your job on paper is to advise and consent. That's all we ask, and that's what he's doing. So
I have to say, I don't like the optics of him going down to Mar-a-Lago, because I think that's become kind of like, you know, Donald Trump's little palace, and it's like trekking down to Mecca to see the prophet. So I don't like that. I don't, you know, and it feels like he's yucking it up. But this used to be normal. Presidents having relationships with people from the other party to get things done used to be normal. Ronald Reagan famously had a very good relationship with Tip O'Neill, who was the Speaker of the House, a Democrat, when he was president. We saw Joe Biden work very closely with Mitt Romney, with Rob Portman, with many Republicans to get bipartisan legislation passed. The problem is Donald Trump is not normal. And so what used to be normal becomes something that we talk about. I think John Fetterman, frankly, is right, but I hope that does not mean that he won't call out the abuses of power, that he won't criticize him when there is legitimate criticism.
What exactly did Donald Trump do that was so wrong in this scenario right here? He invited John Fetterman to have a conversation with him in Mar-a-Lago. Why is that such a bad idea? Why is that such a bad thing for the future president to have a conversation with a senator? Isn't it a good thing to have relations with everybody, regardless of political affiliation? This woman is a straight up wacko. What on earth did Donald Trump do that was an abuse of power? Can you give me one scenario, one example where he abused his power? He didn't go after any political enemies. He did not start any wars. He had the economy booming. He didn't even pardon himself, even though he knew that you guys were going to be going after him for the January 6th insurrection. The guy didn't even take a penny from Washington, D.C. He refused the salary. He's only doing the job because he has such a deep love for America. It has given him so much, and he wants to give back to this country.
He's such a straight shooter, and I don't think he's beholden to either party. He is a Democrat, but he's willing to critique his own. And I think the tribalism of you cannot critique the person wearing the same jersey as you is unhelpful in our politics. And as we speak, something very important is happening right now. Joe Biden's special envoy for hostage negotiations is in Doha, as is Donald Trump's incoming hostage negotiator. They're working together to try to get a ceasefire deal and to try to get the Israeli and American hostages released from Gaza. That's how it should work. And John Fetterman has been a leader on this issue. He cares about the hostages. He has their faces plastered on his windows of his office so people remember them. So it goes to show there are issues of alignment that you can find with Trump. And if it's that narrow thing of the lives of hostages in Israel that you can help encourage him and work with him, that to me is a reason alone to meet with him. But I think there'll be other areas that he sees that perhaps they can work together on. The Lake and Riley Act, which is likely going to advance in the Senate. This is something Fetterman supports. It's something Donald Trump will likely sign into law. There are areas like that people need to look for, not just how can we stop Donald Trump, but where can we find the narrow areas they...
Holy cow, I cannot believe it. Common sense was uttered on The View. There are things that you can agree with Donald Trump. Oh my gosh, this is so revolutionary. How did we not know this before? I don't care what political affiliation you are. You can be an independent, you can be a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. I don't care. As long as you have the best interests of America, I'm going to agree with you. That's how it should be in Washington, D.C. You shouldn't just vote across party lines. You should have your own brain and realize, okay, does this help America or does it hurt America? You should not just blindly adhere to whatever your party tells you to do. I mean, what does it tell you when 99% of times Democrats always vote in unison and never have anybody that ever dissents? Does that sound like freedom of expression and exchanging ideas, or does that just sound like an echo chamber to you? John Fetterman, I have a lot of respect for this man because I thought he was going to be the worst senator in America's history. He was debating Dr. Oz. He couldn't even read. He had troubles with his past. He was applauding very radical policies. But I'll tell you what, he turned a new leaf because he seems right now more rational than some Republicans, the Mitch McConnells and Lindsey Grahams of the world. So I respect the heck out of him for willing to talk to Donald Trump and discuss the issues with America.
For John Fetterman, who is a friend of the show. We've interviewed him many times. He's one of the most, he's brilliant. And, I also think that he is shrewd when it comes to politics. I don't like the optics of going down to Mar-a-Lago and kissing the ring. I mean, Donald Trump will be in Washington. He should have been in Washington already because he should have been transitioning with his team, but he has refused to sign the GSA agreement and wants to go with his own ethics plan. And so that's one of the reasons why he's not in Washington yet. And so I take objection to that. But the one thing that I just want to say is, I want him to stop talking about Greenland. Greenland is not for sale. Like, why is Donald Trump talking about Greenland? You know why he's talking about Greenland? Because it has oil and natural resources some of those resources are unique to China and Russia. And that's what he wants.
He's talking about Greenland so we don't talk about how bad some of his appointments are.
He's talking about it because he wants money.
He
wants money. He wants the oil. And so the one thing that I would caution everyone is
we also have U.S. troops in Greenland, though. There's some national security reasons that we care about the Arctic and having a U.S.
He doesn't give.
That is the reason he's giving.
I don't think he cares about that.
This
I think
guy
he cares
is
about
the distractor in chief. If anything he knows how to do well is to distract the American people.
We need to keep our eye on it.
We are not sending troops in.
We need to keep our eye on it.
Anybody else's sovereign nation.
Yep.
Then he can talk all he wants to, as long as there are no troops heading to Panama, to Greenland, to Canada, Mexico.
Yeah.
All of these are sovereign nations. And as long as they're just talking, let them talk. Let them talk.
As long as it stays that way.
As long as it stays that way.
Not good for alliances.
And we will not know that.
What is so crazy about the idea of acquiring Greenland if most of the citizens of Greenland want to join America and America wants them? And you factor in the natural resources and the geographical location, it's a very sound play militarily. Because I hate to sound the alarm bell, but the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. China, Russia, North Korea, they don't want to just live in harmony with America. Eventually, they're going to want to make some moves. They want to be the superpower of the world that America is today. So if it makes sense strategically for Greenland to join and everyone's in favor of it, what is so crazy about entertaining that idea? The fact that no politician ever even posed this idea is where I'm concerned, because you should be constantly looking for trying to improve America. Now, I'm not saying that we should take over Greenland tomorrow, but we need to just pose the idea and see the pros and cons of doing such an action. We shouldn't just rule it out because it sounds crazy. Because guess what? In 1776, it sounded crazy when 13 colonies stood up against the greatest military force the world has ever seen. Sometimes you just need to shake the box and see how it plays out. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Do you think the Greenland acquisition will ever happen? And will it happen in Trump's administration? Or will it just never happen at all? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.